Hey guys, welcome to lesson number 9 of the series of 10 basic guitar lessons brought to you by theguitarlesson.com. I'm Tom Fontana, and in today's lesson we'll be learning a bunch of new techniques that you'll need when you start playing lead guitar. And by lead guitar I mean when you start playing solos and short riffs. They'll sound really cool. Now today's lesson will build on to the previous lesson, so that was lesson number 8 on hammer-ons, pull-offs, and the pentatonic scale. I hope you remember. And combining those with the things we'll learn today, you'll be playing things like this with enough practice, okay? Okay, so you'll need to practice these techniques a lot to play things like that, but you will get there, trust me. All guitarists were beginners at one time or another, and all it takes is practice and time, as with all things worthwhile in life, So let's just start learning these techniques. I think we'll start off with the vibrato, since that's the easiest. And just to demonstrate the difference between a normal note and the vibrato, just pluck a note somewhere on the fretboard. Let's use string G fret 9 for now. But if you add vibrato, and I'm basically pulling the string up down with my finger while my hand is tilted. So I'm not moving my finger up, down, but to the side like this, since my hand is tilted. So it's a sideways motion, like this. And you can do that with your middle finger. So these first 3 fingers, actually. Okay? And the reason the string gives off the sound is because when you move the string up and down, you're slightly altering its pitch each time you move it. So you're actually raising and lowering the pitch of the string each time you move it. The vibrato is a very expressive technique that really sweetens up your guitar playing, and it can make a huge difference. So it can actually mean the difference between a good lick and a great lick. So this is a must-know if you want to be a good guitarist. So just go ahead and practice that by fretting any note on the fretboard, and just as I showed, just wiggle it with your tilted hand. Make sure your hand is tilted, and try using the different fingers as well. First finger, second finger, third finger. Good. Now let's see another technique. This one's called the slide. So the point is not just plucking, but pluck. Slide with your finger pressed against the fretboard, and now you can add vibrato as well. And you can actually slide anywhere on the fretboard and use any finger you want, okay? So it's a pretty easy technique. Just play around with it for a while and get used to the motion. Now your fingers will hurt and burn a bit if you haven't developed calluses yet. So if they really start hurting, then just stop and try again the next day. You don't want to punish yourself or anything like that. Good, so let's move on and have a look at bending strings now. And let's just join it with what we've been learning today already. So you'll do the slide. There's the bend and vibrato. So the bend is using your fingers to push the string up, which changes its pitch and makes it sound like a higher note. And again, this can be done with any finger, so just place your third finger onto string G at fret 9, pluck and push it up. And you're bending the string. And it's easier if your other fingers help as well. And you can even do this with your pinky. Just get help from your other fingers. And I just play around with that. One thing you want to look out for is that when you bend the string and raise its pitch, you'll want to reach either 1 semitone or 2 semitones higher than your original note. So in other words, that means that you're reaching a note that's either 1 fret or 2 frets higher than the original, just because that's the way it sounds good. Okay? So practice these bends. You can do it on any string at any fret, all over the fretboard. And just make sure you're bending to the note that's either 1 or 2 semitones higher than your starting note, as I said. And I want to say that if you're playing a guitar with heavy gauge strings, you'll have a more difficult time with these bends, because the heavier the string, the harder it is to bend. So a worst case scenario would be if you had to bend an acoustic guitar with heavy strings at fret 1. You'd have to be the governor of California to carry that one out. Okay, but enough of the politics. Let's just practice those bends. You'll be using them in tons of songs, really, so you really want to learn them well. Just like all the other techniques that we're learning in this lesson and the previous lessons, obviously. And let's move on to the next technique. We'll be looking at palm muting, which is a great technique if you want to play rock music. So now I'm going to ask you to hold down a G power chord, and that's your first finger on string E, fret 3, and your second finger on fret 5, string A, and place the edge of your palm onto the strings as close to the bridge as you can, and just pluck the strings. And distortion really makes it sound good. So without palm muting, and with. And it's really cool because you'll hear a lot of songs where all they do is play palm muted power chords like this. Okay, so you get the idea. The point is just to place the edge of your palm all the way at the end of the strings right here, as close to the bridge as you can. And as I said, this technique is best if you have an electric guitar and you can add distortion, so you'll need an amplifier for that. And if you're playing an acoustic guitar right now, then you won't be able to get that rock sound, but just practice it anyways, so once you do get an electric guitar, you'll know this technique already. Okay, and there's another nice method of using, of muting strings, and that's not with your plucking hand, actually, but with your fretting hand. So you're not holding down the strings like this as you normally would, but raising them. So this technique can add real variety to your music. For example, this song by Nirvana. Okay, so actually that was just a couple of power chords combined with what we just learned. And as you can hear, it creates a really interesting, really cool drum-like beat. And that's actually the end of the lesson. I think I'll leave you to practice these techniques now. And once you feel up to it, you might want to visit theguitarlesson.com and download other songs where you get a chance to try out all of these little tricks that we've been learning. Actually, for today's lesson, I would suggest the lesson on the Godfather theme by Slash. It's really good if you want to practice your vibratos, your slides, your bends, or you could even download the Nirvana song I just played, whichever you like. Good. So we've reached the end of the lesson. I hope you had fun and learned a couple of new songs. And in the next lesson, in lesson 10, we'll be learning a new scale, the minor scale, and we'll be using all the lead guitar techniques that we've been learning to improvise on the minor scale. So I'm sure you'll have fun, and you can download it at theguitarlesson.com. And I guess I'll see you then. Bye.